Welcome to lesson 4-4. We're in Algebra 1. Today's date is Wednesday, November 4th, 11/4/2020. Thank you, Miss Heather. That's fine. Thank you. Let's start by reading our objective, which is to what, Diego?
Writing slope-intercept equation from a word problem.
There it is. So we're generating an equation from a word problem. All right. You're welcome. Slope-intercept form. You've seen it over and over and over again. What is the general equation? Slope-intercept form. It's the thing we just did for our warm-up. It's the thing we did in the lesson before that and before that. Slope-intercept form. Haiti. That's the slope, right? Yeah, and we need that too. So let's go ahead and write down Haiti's formula. Slope is equal to rise over run. And there's a bunch of other formulas too. Do you know any other of them, Haiti? Or should we give them to someone else? Yeah, the change in y over the change in x. Perfect. Someone else give me another equation for slope before we move on to slope-intercept form. Slope is equal to, you guys remember the y2? Yeah, just get another, or you can try sharpening it. It's up to you. Slope is also equal to, Ripley? Perfect. That is a valid formula. And I know that sometimes we say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. They're the same formula. I mean, it doesn't look exactly the same, but they do the same thing. This is a valid formula. Perfect. So these are all the equations that we know for slope, but we should also know what slope-intercept form is. This is half the battle, and then we have to find the intercept. But what is slope-intercept form? It's y equals something, something, something. Yeah, Yesenia? There it is. Y equals mx plus b. And Yesenia, do you remember what any of these variables mean? Like what's m, what's b? There it is. B is the y-intercept. And I'm going to abbreviate intercept just by saying y-int. If you want to write out the full word intercept, by all means, you're welcome to. I like abbreviating my notes as much as possible, though. Okay, so there's our review, and I need a beautiful voice to read example 1. By the way, everyone has a beautiful voice. Yes, Diego, go for it.
Aiden is mowing lawns for a summer job. Every morning job, Aiden charges an initial fee of $15 plus a constant fee for each hour of work. Every 2 hours, Hayden charges an additional $32. Let Y represent Hayden's fee for a single job that took X hours to complete. Write the equation for the relationship between fee and number of hours.
There it is. I'll let you guys digest what just was read. We're going to create a y equals mx plus b equation, a slope-intercept form equation from that problem. Okay, you've digested. Okay, we need a slope and we need a y-intercept, and then we're done. Does anyone have an idea of where to start? With a quiet raised hand, who knows how to start this problem? One person knows how to start. 2 people know how to start. 3 people know how to start. Let's hear from Jose.
Money and hours. Right?
Money and hours, yeah, so those are going to be our variables, right? Y is the money, X is the hours.
So it's going to be 32 over
32 over 2. And what are you finding right now?
on the right there. 2 hours, $32.
Yeah, okay. Is this the slope, the y-intercept? What are we finding?
Slope.
Oh, okay, this is the slope. How do you know it's the slope?
Because it's rise over run.
Okay, it's something divided by something, and rise would be the y. This is the change in y. Okay, yeah, so let's annotate that. This is the change in y. Again, it said that y is the money, and Jose has identified it's a change of $32 into Hayden's bank account every 2 hours. So every change in X of 2 hours. That is the definition of slope. Another way to analyze slope is it uses this word every 2 hours. That's like a speed. I'm going this many miles per 2 hours. Every per speed, velocity, all those words mean it's going to be slope.
Like I travel 15 miles in 2 hours.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be a slope. Yeah. And then Jose, can you reduce your fraction?
16 over 1.
Yeah.
Or just 16.
Yeah, 16. And I don't even have to have units here because it's just going to be our slope. So I can say m in this case is going to be 16. I'll write m over here as well. M is 16. We've done half of the work. And that was the hard part. Now I have to do the easy part of what is the y-intercept. Sometimes the y-intercept is hard to find. This is a case where it's easy. Giorgio.
15.
15. You're correct, but why?
The trading charges an initial fee of 15 plus the content fee for each hour.
There it is. Initial fee. This word right here means it's your start. Initial is the same word as start. You start by charging, or Hayden starts by charging $15. A start and y-intercept, maybe I can write start next to the y-intercept up here. Start or initial. Oop, I can't spell initial. Whenever you're talking about the y-intercept, that's your starting amount, your initial amount. So we can come over here and say, okay, therefore B is equal to 15, and we can write out our full equation. Who can tell me how to write my full equation now? Ripley?
Y equals 15x plus 16.
You're really, really close. I think you got them just swapped around because mx plus b and the m is 16. So can you write it? Try it again.
Y equals 16x plus 15.
There it is, 16x plus 15. Thank you. And we box Ripley's answer. Okay, we're moving on to the next problem, unless anyone has a question. All right, another beautiful voice. Example number 2. Yes, thank you, Ripley.
Finley's a stunt rider. One time during a gig where Finley escaped from a building that got too slow, Finley drove to the safe zone at 50 meters per second, about 112 miles per hour. After 6 seconds, Finley was 240 meters away from the safe zone. Let Y represent the distance in meters from the safe zone after X seconds. Write the equation for the relationship between the distance and the number of seconds.
There it is. And as a general rule of thumb, I should always be trying to use meters per second, not miles per hour, because meters is just a better unit. Like, how many meters are in a kilometer? 1,000. How many decimeters are in a meter? 10. It's nice units of 10 times 10 times 10 instead of, I don't even remember. I've looked it up like a bunch of times. How many feet in a mile?
5,280.
5,280. Isn't that such a weird number though? Like, wouldn't it be better if it was like 100 or 1,000? That's meters. Meters is 100 or 1,000. Meters, how many meters are in a kilometer? It's 1,000. So if you're talking about kilometers per hour, it's a better unit of measure. Anyway, we're talking about meters per second in this case. Also, good job if you guys remember 5,280. That's awesome. How are we going to start this problem? Again, we're looking for two things. You're looking for the slope and the y-intercept to find slope-intercept form. Jose already knows how to start. You can go ahead and just write down the answer too if you're ahead of the class. You guys don't need to go with me. You can work ahead. If you finish all the examples, you can move on to the homework. Looks like 2 people now know how to start this problem. Looks like Jose and Diego know. Anyone else know how to start this problem? Read the problem again. Try to find a speed word or try to find a start word. One's a start, one's a speed. So speed means slope. Diego, give one of them.
15 meters per second could be the slope.
It is a slope. Why?
It's the change, the rate of change.
Yeah, so we'll say this is slope, and you can write this a bunch of different ways. By definition, slope is a rate of change. It's 50 meters per second, that is a fraction. It's something per something else. And as Giorgio shouted out too, you're using the word per. Anything that says per second or every second, those mean slope. So maybe I can come back here and annotate slope, words for slope. Maybe I'll do it off to the side because I'm running out of room.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so 240 was the final result, right, for meters. And if you divide it by 6, it's gonna be 40. So it changes.
It does, yeah. So that's you're thinking it's going to be a fraction, right? 240 divided by 6 is a fraction. That could be slope. Is that your worry, or?
Yeah, but she said that she's going 50 meters per second, right?
Yes.
And then after 6 seconds, she's at 240. And doesn't she have to be like
No, that's how far she is away from the safe zone.
in 6 seconds? If you divide it.
Exactly. That's not how far she's gone. That's how far she has left to go. She didn't match.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's an interpretation question too. The main thing to know is 240 is not the b. You can't just say b is equal to 240. There's a little bit more extra work that we have to do. Because if it said after 0 seconds, Finley was 240 meters away, then we could say, oh yeah, that's the y-intercept because one of the numbers is 0. But unfortunately, we have a little bit more work to do. So let me kind of boil down what we have so far. First, we have the slope. Everyone annotate m is our slope. M is equal to 50. You can say 50 over 1, 50 meters every 1 second, or we can just reduce that, simplify it, sorry, and then say 50. The other thing that it's given us is after 6 seconds, Finley is 240 meters away from the safe zone. Trying to get to the safe zone so maybe Finley doesn't get seriously hurt or even worse. Trying to get to the safe zone. So after 6 seconds, and again, 6 is our x, 240 meters away, that's our y. We're given an x, y coordinate. Our coordinate that was given to us is 6, 240. Because 6 is the x, 240 is the y. So our coordinate pair that was given is 6, 240. Just using these two pieces of information, very similar to the warm-up and the lesson from yesterday, how can I use a point and a slope to figure out what the slope-intercept form is? Jose has an idea. Who else has an idea? I'm giving time to think here. I'll give another hint because I want more hands. There's 2 hands. We need to find B. We need to find the y-intercept. But we don't have B. But we do have 3 numbers. We have a slope, an x, and a y. How could I use those to figure out what B is? Still only those 2 hands. Yeah, Yesenia. Exactly, yeah. So if you start with y equals mx plus b, what do we substitute? Ooh, you did the reverse, yeah. So what should y be? Six, and then we say plus b. Nice, and I'll zoom in here so that everyone can actually see what's going on here. We have y equals mx plus b. We substituted in our 240, our y value. M we know is 50, x we know is 6. If we substitute every piece of information in, we should be able to solve for b. Now someone else solve for b. Show me that you know your basic Algebra 1 skills. Just 2 people know how to do Algebra 1 skills. I'd prefer to call on someone new if possible. No? Okay, Zeke.
So from there, you multiply 50 by 6, you'll get 300. Then you have 240 equals 300 plus b. So then you subtract 300 by both sides, leaving you with negative 60 equals b.
I ran out of room, so I'm gonna come over here. Oop. All right, we have all the pieces to our puzzle. We need to put them all together. What is the final equation? I'm going to strictly call in only new people. So who hasn't participated yet? We've got Braden, Ashley, Alden. Have you participated yet? I don't think so. Okay, so it's between you three. One of you three has to participate. In 10 seconds, I'm just going to randomly call. Alden, go.
It's y equals 50x minus 60.
There it is. And box it. Give yourself a pat on the back if you already got that. Good job. Okay, I believe this is our final example, right? Yep, there's nothing in the back. Okay, so example 3, and then we're done with the notes. But let's make sure I haven't lost anyone too much. Example 1 and example 2, give me a fist of 5 on how well you follow those examples. I'm seeing 3s, 4, 4, 4, 5, 3. Okay, I'd say our average is about a 3.7. So another final beautiful voice to read about Max. A new voice, if possible. Sorry, Diego. Sorry, Ripley. Has to be new. Yeah, Braden, go for it.
After 3 hours, Max's altitude was 490 feet above sea level. What line represents the altitude in feet above sea level after X hours? Write the equation for the relationship between the altitude and the number of hours.
Thank you. And I should make a teacher note to myself. I should convert this to meters for next year because I hate feet. Yes, so what do we do? Analyze that problem. It's very, very similar to example number 2. It's almost the same exact procedure with different numbers. If you have already solved number 3 and you've checked with someone else, you can go on to the homework. So I think I'm just going to walk around the room and see how you guys are working and offer individual help. We'll reconvene in about 5 minutes. Okay, so I apologize up front. I thought it was exactly the same with different numbers, but I am dead wrong. It's a switch. They give you B and want you to find slope. In the last problem, they gave you slope and want you to find B. So in example number 3, we can immediately tell what B is. What is our y-intercept? Braden. 280, yeah, because it uses the word begin. I should add that to my list of words. Oh, there is a slight, yeah, I see the error. 280 is almost the y-intercept. It says below sea level, though. So how would you modify that, Braden? If I'm 280 below, is it positive 280 or negative 280? There it is, yeah. So I should say that my B is negative 280. And I don't know what my M is. If I figure out what my M, my slope is, I'm done. I just put the two together in an equation. So the last thing that I need to do is use the fact that it changes over 3 hours to a positive 490 feet. And that should somehow give me my slope. That is correct. But let's hold off and make sure that we know the process for that. Good job. Yeah, so slope is the last thing that we're trying to find. Again, that's our M. And you can use whatever equation you would like. I personally, in this case, am going to use y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So my y, again, represents feet. So my numerator of my fraction is going to be feet minus feet. And I see 2 feet numbers. There's 280 feet and negative 280 feet and 490 feet. So I'm going to do one minus the other. I'm going to do my second point minus my first point. It'll make it a little bit easier. So my second point was a positive 490, and I'm going to subtract my first point. I'm going to subtract this negative 280. So I end up at 490. That's my second point. And I'm going to subtract my negative 280. Subtract negative 280. What about the bottom? What about the denominator? What should I do for that? I need some help. What is x2 minus x1? What is my change in time? It says x represents hours. How many hours have passed between negative 280 feet and 490 feet? Yesenia? 3 hours, yeah, because I started at 0 hours and now I'm at 3 hours. So you could, I mean, if you want to be pedantic, if you want to be overboard and say 3 minus 0, you can do that, but I think we should just all put a 3. It took 3 hours. That was our change in x. And then Jose, again, what was 490 minus a negative 280? 770 divided by 3. It's going to be a decimal? Okay. And in Khan Academy, I believe you're allowed to just leave it as a fraction. You can just leave it 770 over 3. That's the reduced fraction. You can't reduce it anymore. 259 point, is it? Let's see. 0.3 repeating. Let's see. 770 over 3. Oh, it's 0.6 repeating. Darn. All right. And who can write out our final equation? Just to be done with our notes. Final equation is, just go ahead and use a fraction for the notes. It'll be nice and easy. Yes, yes, Sonia. There it is. And we box it. All right. I know that doesn't give us very much time for homework because we had a long warm up, but Fist of 5, how well can you use, take a word problem and turn it into a slope-intercept equation? How well can you do our objective today? I'm at a 4, 4, 5, 4, 3, 3. Alden's at a 4. Zeke is at a 4. Diego 4. And Giorgio's at a 5. All right. So I would say that's an average of like a 4.2. Just guesstimating. I couldn't add them up in my head. All right. And that concludes the notes.